Chapter 6 of The Wonderful History of Peter Schlemihl by Adelbert von Chamisso. Translated by Frederick H. Hedge. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Chapter 6. Left alone on the wild heath, I gave free current to my countless tears, relieving my heart from an ineffably weary weight. But I saw no bound, no outlet, no end to my intolerable misery, and I drank besides with savage thirst of the fresh poison which the unknown had poured into my wounds. When I called the image of Mina before my soul, and the dear, sweet form appeared pale and in tears, as I saw her last in my shame, then stepped impudent and mocking rascal's shadow between her and me, I covered my face and fled through the wild. Yet the hideous apparition left me not, but pursued me in my flight, till I sank breathless on the ground and moistened it with a fresh torrent of tears. And all for a shadow! And this shadow a pen-stroke could have obtained for me. I thought over the strange proposition and my refusal. All was chaos in me. I had no longer either discernment or faculty of comprehension. The day went along. I stilled my hunger with wild fruits, my thirst in the nearest mountain stream. The night fell. I lay down beneath a tree. The damp morning awoke me out of a heavy sleep, in which I heard myself rattle in the throat as in death. Bendel must have lost all trace of me, and it rejoiced me to think so. I would not return again amongst men before whom I fled in terror, like the timid game of the mountains. Thus I lived through 3 weary days. On the 4th morning I found myself on a sandy plain, bright with the sun, and sat on a rock in its beams, for I loved now to enjoy its long withheld countenance. I silently fed my heart with its despair. A light rustle startled me. Ready for flight, I threw round me a hurried glance. I saw no one, but in the sunny sand there glided past me a human shadow, not unlike my own, which, wandering there alone, seemed to have escaped from its possessor. There awoke in me a mighty yearning. "Shadow," said I, "dost thou seek thy master? I will be he," and I sprang forward to seize it. I thought that if I succeeded in treading on it so that its feet touched mine, it probably would remain hanging there, and in time accommodate itself to me. The shadow, on my moving, fled before me, and I was compelled to begin a strenuous chase of the light fugitive, for which the thought of rescuing myself from my fearful condition could alone have endowed me with the requisite vigour. It flew toward a wood at a great distance, in which I must of necessity have lost it. I perceived this. A horror convulsed my heart, inflamed my desire, added wings to my speed. I gained evidently on the shadow. I came continually nearer. I must certainly reach it. Suddenly it stopped and turned toward me. Like a lion on its prey, I shot with a mighty spring forward to make seizure of it, and dashed unexpectedly against a hard and bodily object. Invisibly I received the most unprecedented blows on the ribs that mortal man probably ever received. The effect of the terror in me was convulsively to close my arms, and firmly to enclose that which stood unseen before me. In the rapid transaction I plunged forward to the ground, but backward and under me was a man whom I had embraced and who now first became visible. The whole occurrence then became very naturally explicable to me. The man must have carried the invisible bird's nest, which renders him who holds it, but not his shadow, imperceptible, and had now cast it away. I glanced round, soon discovered the shadow of the invisible nest itself, leaped up and toward it, and did not miss the precious prize. Invisible and shadowless, I held the nest in my hand. The man, swiftly springing up, gazing round instantly after his fortunate conqueror, descried on the wide sunny plain neither him nor his shadow, for which he sought with especial avidity. for that I was myself entirely shadowless, he had no leisure to remark, nor could he imagine such a thing. Having convinced himself that every trace had vanished, he turned his hand against himself and tore his hair in great despair. To me, however, the acquired treasure had given the power and desire to mix again amongst men. I did not want for self-satisfying palliatives for my base robbery, or rather, I had not need of them, and to escape from every thought of the kind, I hastened away, not even looking round at the unhappy one, whose deploring voice I long heard resounding behind me. Thus at least appeared to me the circumstances at the time. I was on fire to proceed to the forester's garden, and there myself to discern the truth of what the detested one had told me. I knew not, however, where I was. I climbed the next hill in order to look round over the country, and perceived from its summit the near city and the forester's garden lying at my feet. My heart beat violently, and tears of another kind than what I had till now shed rushed into my eyes. I should see her again. Anxious desire hastened my steps down the most direct path. I passed unseen some peasants who came out of the city. They were talking of me, of Rascal and the forest-master. I would hear nothing. I hurried past. I entered the garden, all the tremor of expectation in my bosom. I seemed to hear laughter near me. I shuddered, threw a rapid glance round me, but could discover nobody. I advanced farther. I seemed to perceive a sound as of men's steps near me, but there was nothing to be seen. I believed myself deceived by my ear. It was yet early, no one in Count Peter's arbour, the garden still empty. I traversed the well-known paths. I penetrated to the very front of the dwelling. The same noise more distinctly followed me. I seated myself with an agonized heart on a bench, which stood in the sunny space before the house door. It seemed as if I had heard the unseen kobold, laughing in mockery, seat himself near me. The key turned in the door, it opened, and the forest-master issued forth with papers in his hand. A mist seemed to envelope my head. I looked up, and horror! The man in the grey coat sat by me, gazing on me with a satanic leer. He had drawn his magic cap at once over his head and mine. At his feet lay his and my shadow, peaceably by each other. He played negligently with the well-known parchment which he held in his hand, and as the forest-master, busied with his documents, went to and fro in the shadow of the arbour, he stooped familiarly to my ear and whispered in it these words: "So then you have, notwithstanding, accepted my invitation, and here sit we for once, 2 heads under 1 cap. All right, but now give me my bird's nest again. You have no further need of it, and are too honest a man to wish to withhold it from me. But there needs no thanks. I assure you that I have lent it to you with the most hearty goodwill." He took it unceremoniously out of my hand, put it in his pocket, and laughed at me again, and that so loud that the forest-master himself looked round at the noise. I sat there as if changed to stone. "But you must admit," continued he, "that such a cap is much more convenient. It covers not only your person, but your shadow at the same time, and as many others as you have a mind to take with you. See you again to-day. I conduct 2 of them." He laughed again. "Mark this, Schlemihl, what we at first won't do with a good will, that will we in the end be compelled to. I still fancy you will buy that thing from me, take back the bride, for it is yet time, and we leave Rascal dangling on the gallows, an easy thing for us so long as rope is to be had. Hear you, I will give you also my cap into the bargain." The mother came forth, and the conversation began. "How goes it with Mina?" "She weeps." "Silly child, it cannot be altered." "Certainly not, but to give her to another so soon? O man, thou art cruel to thy own child." "No, mother, that thou quite mistakest. When she, even before she has wept out her childish tears, finds herself the wife of a very rich and honourable man, she will awake comforted out of her trouble as out of a dream, and thank God and us, that shalt thou see.
God grant it.
She possesses now, indeed, a very respectable property. But after the stir that this unlucky affair with the adventurer has made, canst thou believe that a partner so suitable as Mr. Rascal could be readily found for her? Dost thou know what a fortune Mr. Rascal possesses? He has paid 6 millions for estates here in the country, free from all debts. I have had the title deeds in my own hands. He it was who everywhere had the start of me, and, besides this, has in his possession bills of Thomas John for about 3.5 millions.
He must have stolen enormously.
What talkest that again? He has wisely saved what would otherwise have been lavished away.
A man that has worn livery?
Stupid stuff. He has, however, an unblemished shadow.
Thou art right, but...
The man in the great coat laughed and looked at me. The door opened, and Mina came forth. She supported herself on the arm of a chambermaid, silent tears rolling down her lovely pale cheeks. She seated herself on a stool which was placed for her under the lime trees, and her father took a chair by her. He tenderly took her hand and addressed her with tender words, while she began violently to weep. Thou art my good dear child, and thou wilt be reasonable, will not wish to distress thy old father, who seeks only thy happiness. I can well conceive it, dear heart, that it has sadly shaken thee. Thou art wonderfully escaped from thy misfortunes. Before we discovered the scandalous imposition, thou hadst loved this unworthy one greatly. See, Mina, I know it, and upbraid thee not for it. I myself, dear child, also loved him, so long as I looked upon him as a great gentleman. But now thou seest how different all has turned out. What, every poodle has his own shadow, and should my dear child have a husband? No, thou thinkest indeed no more about him. Listen, Mina. Now a man solicits thy hand who does not shun the sunshine, an honourable man, who truly is no prince, but who possesses 10 millions, 10 times more than thou, a man who will make my dear child happy. Answer me not, make no opposition, be my good, dutiful daughter. Let thy loving father care for thee, and dry thy tears. Promise me to give thy hand to Mr. Rascal. Say, wilt thou promise me this? She answered with a faint voice,
I have no will, no wish further upon earth. Happen with me what my father will.
At this moment Mr. Rascal was announced, and stepped impudently into the circle. Mina lay in a swoon. My detested companion glanced angrily at me, and whispered in hurried words, "And that can you endure? What then flows instead of blood in your veins?" He scratched with a hasty movement a slight wound in my hand, blood flowed, and he continued, "Actually red blood. So sign then." I had the parchment and the pen in my hand. End of chapter 6.